Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of The Crazy Lounge, where we talk about movies, video games, comic books, anything that I want to talk about. And I've been wanting to do this one for a little while. I've actually been planning this one for a couple of weeks, but I just haven't done it because I've been busy. But this is the DC Extended Universe tier list. And of course, I've seen all the movies. I have. And I'll explain the end of it, and I'll kind of explain what I'm going to be doing afterwards with all of this. But this is what the DCE EU tier list, like I did with Marvel when I brought back the Crazy Lounge on the first episode of season 3. I'm going to do one for the DCEU, and we're going to once again go off in order of release of the movies and all kind of stuff. I got it written down right here because the order of release was a little bit to think of, but I mean, it's not too bad. I mean, it's not nearly enough. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 movies in the extended universe. There's more to come, of course, but I'll explain the situation afterwards, or when I get to that movie, I'll explain one of the movies and all that kind of stuff. But we're going to start off with the first movie in the DC extended universe. The movie that started the whole thing was Man of Steel. And I'm going to put Man of Steel at a B. It's not a bad movie. It's, again, kind of an origin movie of Superman. But this one goes into a little bit more depth about the destruction of Krypton and how Superman wound up going to Earth. And has a little bit more of more things about Superman's parents and so like that, and then him coming to Earth, and so like that. And then, of course, the villain is General Zod, which was the villain from the original Superman 2 from the 1970s and 80s with Christopher Reeve. And for what it's worth, it ain't a bad movie, not a bad way to start it, and all kind of stuff. I'm not the biggest Superman fan, but I mean, it's really not that extremely bad. But it's got it's a little bit of product placement with Coke, I believe, if I remember correctly. I believe there's a bunch of Coca-Cola product placement, and the way that Superman kind of kills at the end didn't sit very well with me. But for what it's worth, it ain't that bad of a movie to start off with, and so with that. But I mean, for what it's worth, it really isn't that bad. It could have started a lot worse, like the next movie on the list. And it does get worse almost immediately with Batman vs. Superman. It ain't the worst movie in the world, but it's certainly not good. I'm not saying Ben Affleck as Batman was bad, because he wasn't. Ben Affleck as Batman was not a terrible choice. I mean, he makes a good Bruce Wayne, and there was actually a couple of action scenes that he actually showed that he could play a pretty good Batman. But for what it's worth, it's really not that good of a movie. A couple of things killed it. I mean, for one thing, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor kind of ruined it big time because he was a terrible Lex Luthor. And number two, there's no reason. I mean, they give like a thinly veiled reason why Batman and Superman is fighting and stuff like that, and the way when they actually fight, it's really cool because Batman comes up with all kinds of crazy gadgets to beat Superman, and yes, in the fight he beats Superman like in the comic books. Yes, Batman beats Superman. Ooh, it does the same thing in the comics. In fact, Batman's beaten every person in the Justice League at least once, but. But then, like, the big thing was, like, the way the fight ended. When Superman was losing, he's like, Martha, I gotta save Martha. And Batman's like, why'd you say that name? That was Christian Bale's Batman, but still. And they stop fighting because both their mom's name is Martha. And then Wonder Woman makes her debut in this movie, too, but it's like a little camp. But then Lex Luthor, in the end, gets hold of General Zod's Kryptonian ship and mixes his DNA with General Zod to make Doomsday, which is completely wrong from the comics. Because Doomsday is the result of like experiments going wrong over and 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 over again. He gets killed, gets revived, gets killed. And it's like an experiment and all kinds of stuff to the point where, he's all he can think about is being a killing machine and stuff like that. And the other part of it is, Doomsday kills Superman. Yes, Doomsday kills Superman in the comics. But it's only the second movie in the DCEU, and it felt a little rushed, and just the way that Doomsday kind of just went. He's supposed to be one of the biggest villains in the Justice League. It's not a very good movie. But then we get to one of the best movies, due to release date, one of the best movies of the DCEU, and that is Wonder Woman. S rank. Very, very good movie. Yes. Wonder Woman origin story. Talking about her life on Themyscira and island of Amazonian warriors, and talking about like her path to become Wonder Woman. Steve Trevor, the World War I pilot, coming in and starting her journey, and she gets involved with World War I and gets involved with finding out about the God of War, Ares, who wants to like destroy humanity by manipulating them to start and kill each other in wars. Kind of like Helmut Zemo. He's a manipulator, but he also is the freaking God of War. And just the way, most of the scenes and the way they handle the movie is just so good. It is really good. And stuff like that. And I don't know what it is, but that movie is really, really good. And I missed the movie. That's actually the fourth movie of it. I actually missed the movie. That's the fourth movie, so I'm gonna have to back up a little bit and go to the third movie, which was Suicide Squad. Terrible movie. It's just boring and a lot of talking, not a lot of action. Harley Quinn's good, Deadshot's okay, and some of the characters are okay, but half the movie is Amanda Waller talking about the superheroes. The supervillains. But Suicide Squad's a bunch of supervillains doing missions that no one else can do, and if they don't follow the mission, they get a bomb implanted in them. They'll blow up the bomb and they get killed. And in fact, one of them gets killed in the movie. But half the movie is basically just them talking about the supervillains without much happening. And I don't know. It's very bad movie, but I'm not saying that it's completely devoid of stuff. Like I said, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn's good. Deadshot's pretty good, and some of the other characters are okay. I like Captain Boomerang; he's funny, but I don't know. It's just a lot of the movie is just really boring, and even the villains. I know it's the Enchantress, but it's not really that memorable. And all kind of stuff. So yeah, Suicide Squad's probably the worst movie of the DCU, which didn't say much, because I said the fourth movie was Wonder Woman. We're going to go to the fifth movie. It's not much better. The original Justice League. It was rushed. It was kind of just there. I know Steppenwolf is like the nephew of Darkseid, and he was coming to find the three mother boxes to control the world, because with that much power he can control the world, much probably control the galaxy and beyond. And yeah, it brings all the characters together. But Wonder Woman and Batman, was kind of already established in Batman vs Superman and stuff like that. But then they just all of a sudden bring in the Flash and bring in Aquaman and gross. Oh, and Suicide Squad 2 had Jared Leto's Joker, but I'm not even going to talk about that because we know how a lot of people feel about Jared Leto's Joker. And yeah, it wasn't. I don't have much to say about that. It's bad. But anyway, back to Justice League. And then they bring in Cyborg. And Everything just felt kind of rushed. I mean, it was just there. They get together, they fight Steppenwolf. They stop him from getting the 3 mother boxes, and boom, that's it. Oh, and they revive Superman using one of the mother boxes, which is kind of cool, but, I mean, it's just a movie that's just there. It's... Now, this is what I was talking about. The original Justice League is about... I have not seen Zack Snyder's Justice League because I don't have HBO Max. So I can't rate it yet. So what my plan is to either get HBO Max or borrow like just somebody's account for a little bit so I can watch it. And then I can do my own Crazy Lounge own Zack Snyder's Justice League. Because frankly, I just haven't seen it yet. So that's one of my plans for a Crazy Lounge is Zack Snyder's Justice League, which I have not seen yet. So I can't really rate it compared to the old one because I haven't seen it yet. But the original Justice League is just there. And you would think that it would be a better movie because it's like Justice League, but it's just there. And it made me a little bit disappointed, and I thought this was going to be like the undoing of the DCEU, and it almost was. And then they came out with some pretty good movies. The next one is Aquaman. Pretty good movie for Aquaman. Jason Momoa's Aquaman is really awesome. And the way they showed his origin story with his father finding Mera, the Queen of Atlantis, washed up on shore, and they conceive a child, Arthur Curry, which is Aquaman. So he's like half god, half mortal. Kind of like Hercules a little bit, but and then basically the whole movie is him trying to claim the kingdom of Atlantis. And the only disappointing thing about Aquaman's movie was the way they handled his biggest villain, Black Manta. Black Manta should have been treated a little bit of a bigger deal than what it was, but he was just in the movie for a little bit, and then he was defeated, and that was it. I'm not saying that's going to be the end of Black Manta, but the main villain of the movie was his half-brother, Orm, who thinks he's the rightful ruler of the seas, and they have to have, they have a big battle, and he also has to find his trident, the Trident of Poseidon, and eventually they come and have a huge battle between him and Orm, or whatever his name is. I can't remember exactly what his name is. And then eventually Aquaman does sort of claim the kingdom and becomes king of Atlantis, but he chooses and there will be an Aquaman 2. It's already been confirmed, and I wonder if Black Man is going to be in that one. But we'll see. Oh, speaking of Suicide Squad, there's a Suicide Squad 2 coming out this year, The Suicide Squad, which I'll probably go watch, and I'll talk about it in a future Crazy Lounge episode. But, I mean, Aquaman's movie was pretty good. Then another movie that was pretty good, which was surprising, kind of like in DC, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, being surprisingly good, was like Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man, was Shazam. Shazam wasn't a movie. The origin of Shazam, Billy Batson being the orphan, getting his powers from the wizard who needed to find an heir, and him becoming Shazam and testing out his powers. Can't remember what the villain's name is, but he's basically an evil Shazam. And then, like, the fight scene at the end was really cool with what was it? It was called, like, the 7 Deadly Sins. And then the main villain, which again, I can't remember what the main villain's name is. But for what it's worth, it was really funny. Patrick Levi plays Shazam perfectly. I mean, he's a 15-year-old kid trapped in an adult body, and he acts like it. It's really funny and incredible. But for what it's worth, it's really funny. And I think I know there's going to be a second Shazam movie. If I recall correctly, it's going to be Shazam Fury of the Gods. And I don't know, because they're coming out with a Black Adam movie, which is Shazam's biggest foe. And so there will be a Black Adam solo movie, who's going to be played by The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I don't know if the second Shazam movie takes place after Black Adam comes out, or they're going to be coming out with the second Shazam movie before Black Adam. I'll have to look up that. But they are coming out with a Black Adam movie, and they're coming out with a second Shazam movie called Fury of the Gods. But for what it's worth, Shazam was really funny, and I actually really loved that movie. Now, the next movie I saw in theaters, I was a little unsure about it, but I was pleasantly surprised. It ain't an awesome movie, but it's really not a bad movie. With Birds of Prey. It's a B movie. It takes place after Suicide Squad. Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn's broken up with the Joker, and she's basically on her own. And but she's basically running from everybody now that they know that she don't have the Joker's protection anymore. She's on the run and trying to all that kind of stuff. And eventually, she gets caught and gets into a mission by Black Mask, who is like the league crime leader of Gotham, and tells her that she needs to find this diamond that this kid has named Cassandra Cain. And so she finds the kid, but the kid like swallowed the diamond. So she decides to protect him because she doesn't want the kid to fall into Black Mask's hands. And eventually, you meet like a singer named Dinah, who winds up being Black Canary. And there's leader of the Psionic, like another family, like the daughter of the only survivor of like a family whose family gets killed, like from the Black Mask and stuff like that. She winds up being Huntress. And then there's like this cop named Renee Montoya, something like that, who winds up being kind of another member of the Black. And they eventually come together and become the Birds of Prey. And they all come together to take on Black Mask and his army. And it was a pretty good movie for what it was. It's not a great movie, but it's not definitely a bad movie. It's a lot better than some of the other ones. And another funny thing is that Harley Quinn has a pet hyena named Bruce. Yeah, named after Bruce Wayne. But for what it's worth, it's not a bad movie, but it's not a good movie. I mean, it's not a bad movie. It's not a great movie, but it's pretty good. I definitely would recommend watching it. But okay. And then the last movie released so far in the DCEU besides Zack Snyder's Justice League, which again I have not seen, so I can't make any judgment on that movie because I haven't seen it because I don't have HBO Max. And I haven't been to the theaters to watch it, so I don't even know if it's in the theaters anymore. So I can't really. I may have to wait for it to either watch it on HBO Max or I can wait for it because it is going to be coming out on DVD, like in May. But we'll see. I think it's coming out in May. I think it said it's coming out in May in Australia and Europe. It has no confirmation of a U.S. release date in DVD, but again, like I said, I'll have to probably see about getting HBO Max so I can watch it. But anyway, the last movie is the sequel to Wonder Woman 1984. It's not nearly as good as the original Wonder Woman. There's a lot of hokey stuff. I'm not saying that it's bad. It's not a bad movie. I know a lot of people shit on it, but personally, I don't think it's that bad of a movie as what people make it out to be. It's not. I'm not going to say it's nearly as good as the original Wonder Woman. It's not. It's not even close to being a movie. But it's not as bad as what people make it out to be. Sure, there's a bunch of weird stuff involved with it. Like the main thing is that this takes place in 1984, and it's Wonder Woman 1984, and they find an artifact. They're researching an artifact called the Dreamstone, which is a stone that grants wishes in return for something. So, but the Dreamstone gets something in return. So, Wonder Woman wishes for Steve Trevor to come back, and he comes back, but in a different man's body. And then there's Diana's assistant wishes to be like Wonder Woman, and eventually she starts getting stronger. And so I thought, but the main villain in the movie is a guy who's played by Pedro Pascal, who's the Mandalorian, named Maxwell Lord, who actually gets the Dreamstone and wishes to become the stone. So he can actually grant people's wishes in exchange for things. Like, for example, he goes to Iran And he says, hey, I can help you with this, all kinds of stuff, but he basically takes over Iran. So like that. He eventually becomes president. And so like that. I mean, eventually he gets so powerful. And then Diana's assistant, which has become an apex predator, and she becomes the Cheetah. Which is a nice little fight scene with Wonder Woman and Cheetah. And then eventually they have to recant all the wishes. That's the only way to defeat Maxwell. And there's just a bunch of weird stuff to the movie. I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but it's not nearly as good or even good as the original Wonder Woman or some of the other movies. But it's not as bad as what people make it out to be. But for what it's worth, it's an average movie. And there will be a Wonder Woman 3. They've already been announced that. Which I'm not sure exactly. It's going to jumpstart to present day. So, and I'm not sure exactly when it's coming out, but I heard 2023, something like that. Wonder Woman, the third Wonder Woman movie comes out, but eventually they do defeat Maxwell. Maxwell gets everybody to recant their wishes, so like that. Steve Trevor goes bye-bye, blah, and all kind of stuff. And the movie, so overall, it's not a bad movie, but it's not nearly as good as the original Wonder Woman. Original Wonder Woman is by far the best movie in the DCEU so far. But that's all of them for right now, besides Zack Snyder's Justice League, which, again, I have not seen. So I need to watch that, and then I can actually do a separate Crazy Lounge, get my thoughts on that, and find 4-hour time period to watch it, because, God, I heard that movie's 4 hours long. But I will watch it, even if I can't watch it all at 4 hours at once. I mean, I will watch it. I don't care how. It might be a couple months down the line before I get it done, but I got other Crazy Lounges ideas in my head. But for now, I can't make any judgments on Zack Snyder's Justice League because I haven't seen it. But there's a lot of DCEU movies coming out. Like, I know this year they're coming out with the Suicide Squad, which is Suicide Squad 2. I've seen the trailer for it, and it looks already a lot better than the first one, mainly because of the directors, James Gunn. And James Gunn did Guardians of the Galaxy. So, and there's a lot of new characters like Peacemaker, which is John Cena, and they got Bloodsport, which is Idris Elba. They got Polka Dot Man. They got Ratcatcher 2. They got all kinds of new characters. And, of course, the leader of the Suicide Squad is now Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. So, to the surprise of no one, she's basically becoming like the face of the DCEU almost. And then I know they got a couple more coming out that I have to actually take a look. I know they're coming out with the Flash movie. They're coming out with Wonder Woman 3, Shazam 2, Aquaman 2, all kind of stuff. But we'll see about that when the time comes. But for now, this has been another episode of the Crazy Lounge, Season 3. And I'll be back with some more episodes. I have a few ideas in my head that I want to do. There's a few things I just finished watching. And then, of course, we got Falcon and Winter Soldier. The finale for that show's next week. So I'll be giving my thoughts on that. And there's other things I finished watching. And there's some video game. There's other stuff I have in my mind. Not just this, but I wanted to do this because I wanted to build up and then to be able to watch Zack Snyder's Justice League, get my thoughts on that, and then build up to everything that's going on for the next phase of the DCEU. So y'all have a good day. I'll see y'all next time with another episode of the Crazy Lounge. This is DKS3A, the Crazy Gamer, signing out.